Hi there, welcome to Kneppy Invest and welcome to Tuesday, the 25th of November, 2025. Time is currently 3:09 p.m., so almost 1 hour left of trading today. In fact, in 7 minutes' time, it's going to be exactly 1 hour. Anyway, it's also 1 month to Christmas. I just realized that, 25th of November, 1 month to Christmas. Okay, so the agenda for today's video, we'll go through the ASX today, have a look at the best and worst performing sectors, indices, and companies, and I'm really intrigued to see what has let us down today because the ASX 200 or the SGO is currently down 0.18%, but small caps and tech have had a pretty good day. Mining's had a pretty good day as well. So I'm wondering if maybe defensive companies, banks have had a negative day, which would make sense. And then after the ASX today, we'll have a look at the top five stocks of the day. I have been umming and ahhing which five companies to include, not because there has been little choice, but there's been plenty of choice. And I'm going to have to leave some companies out. And those companies I leave out, I might have a look at their charts. A bit of a cheating way to include some of those companies. And then after that, after chart of the day section, that's it. That's it for today's video. Okay, so let's have a look at the ASX today. Now, first thing I might do is just to see trading economics, any sort of economic news, or the South Korean consumer morale hits 8-year high. If that was an 8-month high, I wouldn't be that interested, but 8-year high. South Koreans are feeling really good right now. Germans may not be because their business sentiment weakens in November. I might have a look at Capital Breathe. No, I just did. I went through this earlier, and there's a new AI company listed on the ASX. Begins trade. It's New Zealand based. Begins trading on the ASX called Black Pearl Group. I actually do like that name. Might go through Capital Breathe later in the video, but let's go have a look at the ASX today. Best performing and worst performing sectors and indices. I'm wondering in defensive and banks. Let's have a look. In fact, quite a few sectors have had a pretty bad day. So a bifurcated market. Materials, IT, both up over 1%. Yet financials, discretionary, staples, utilities, real estate, and telecommunications all down by a fair bit today. So definitely a bifurcated market. Led down, yeah, the banks have had a really nasty day, which is not a surprise. They had a bounce yesterday, down today, because definitely sentiment has shifted to a little bit more negative in the banking sector, particularly because one of the companies in the top five today, they had a bad day. So I should have thought about that earlier. Yeah, saying the banking sector has had a bad day today wasn't that, well, I wasn't really going on a limb just because one of the companies in my top five, a big banking company, not one of the biggest, but they had a pretty negative day. Anyway, gold's had a really good day, up 3.31%. So my gold company is doing fantastic, although one is in trading hold. And ASX 20 down 0.57%. So those who heavily concentrated in the bigger companies are saying, what good day. Today has not been good. It's been terrible. My portfolio's down massively. While those who are heavily invested in small caps and tech have had a spectacular day, like my portfolio. Anyway, let's have a look at the ASX 20. And I'm assuming all the big banks are down. Macquarie's down, Woolworths is down, Telstra's down, probably Goodman Group's down. I'm going to say 7 companies up, 13 down, and probably iron ore companies up, gold companies up. Anyway, let's have a look. 7 up. Oh, only 4 up. There you go. And those 4 companies are Rio Tinto, Northern Star, Fortescue, BHP, and that's it. In fact, you probably could say the miners have saved the day because only 4 companies up today among the ASX 20. The worst performing companies in the ASX 20, they haven't had a bad day. Aristocrat Leisure down 1.01%, but CBA, QBE, Wesfarmers, NAB, and Macquarie Group all down by over 1%. Okay, so now let's turn our attention to Morgan Stanley's top 11 fully. Why top 11? Why not top 10? Top 10 fully franked dividend picks for the end of the year. This could be a nice little standalone video. Anyway, let's have a look at the top gainers and top losers. Starting off with top gainers today. And at the top here by percentage change is a company called Enlitic. That is in my top five. Up 60.87%. Possible trading company, possible breakout. So we'll have a look at that company later. The next 3 are all up on very low turnover. So I'm not interested at all in those sort of companies. Lewin Metals, I didn't really have a look at that company. So maybe they did release something, but I don't know. Let's have a look. Results of AGM, so not really anything. I did have a look at Metallium, share price up 18.98%, but they're talking about listing on the Nasdaq. I'm not interested in that sort of thing. And maybe, just maybe, if we have a look at the chart for Metallium, maybe because the share price has pulled back a fair bit, and maybe this could be a little bit of the start of a bounce. I'm just saying that maybe. Yeah, the share price had pulled back a fair bit, so maybe this is the start of a bounce. Maybe. What else do we have here? Nothing I really want to talk about. Mount really did release something. I'm trading that right now, but an RLF AgTech had another good day. RLF chart. I don't mind that chart. I do like the volume. Yeah, I don't mind that one. I'm going to put this down onto my list. Not my favorite chart, but I don't mind it. Let's have a look at the top gainers by market cap. So Ramsay Healthcare. I will talk about this one because I went through the top gainers and top losers before I started recording, and this one did surprise me because they did not release anything price sensitive today. However, they did have the AGM. And someone screwed up here. Whenever the share price is up 11.82% on some sort of announcement, someone screwed up. This is price sensitive. We can see it in the share price, up 11.82%. So they had the AGM managing director address and presentation. And I did go to Capital Reef just to get some clarity around this. And they just mentioned Ramsay Healthcare reaffirms outlook as quarter one update outstrips estimate. So better quarter one from Ramsay Healthcare than guidance, I suppose, or estimates. And let's have a look to see. So RBC Capital Analyst Wei Weng Chen said Ramsay's trading update this morning should be taken well by the market today. And I'm just going to have a look at the numbers comparing to estimates. So Australia, by the way, this is not good growth. It's fairly weak growth, but it's better than expected. That's the main thing. So revenue growth of 6.5% in the first quarter ahead of average forecast of 4.2% and EBIT growth of 5.8 compared to consistent expectations for 2% retraction. So pretty significant beat when it comes to EBIT. Even the revenue growth, 6.5%, definitely better than 4.2%. So definitely understand why share price has popped up. I'm just wondering, because I missed it because it was not marked price sensitive. And that can happen on occasion. So let's have a look at the chart for Ramsay Healthcare. Is this looking interesting right now? Pretty sure the share price has been in the downtrend. Oh, but look at that. And it's not long ago they released really negative results in August. So share price on that day dropped 10.5%. So you can just see how sentiment can shift fairly quickly. But I'm wondering if this is a trend killer event. It's starting to look like it. Starting to look like it. And this could be the start of some really good news flow from Ramsay Healthcare. Definitely put this on my list as well. But I'm not sure. I just don't know. Don't know about that one. Tillic's up. Not going to, complain about that. Web travel is in my top five. In fact, the stock of the day. And good day for gold companies, lithium companies have had a bounce, looks like. So a lot of mining companies in the rest of the top gainers. Okay, now on to the top losers. The first thing I noticed when we have a look at the top losers by percentage change, a lot of small cap mining companies have had a pretty bad day, including Bougainville Copper and Tally Resources. In fact, I did write it down to go through both of these. So let's have a look at why Bougainville Copper and Tally Resources are both down significantly. Now, Bougainville Copper is a pretty big company, relatively speaking. And when I say relatively speaking, I'm talking about the rest of the companies here. You can see $12 million market cap, $4 million market cap, 55, 13, 11, 32. Bougainville Copper has a market cap of 232.62. Turnover approaching $1 million. What could share, and by the way, if the share price is down 50% almost, that means the market cap at the start of trading today was 400, not 300. So if it's down by 50%, the market cap, well, just times it by two. The market cap was 460. So what's happened? Have never really looked at this company until today. And something nefarious is going on here. So Bougainville Copper, their announcement today, they went into trading halt the other day. Paguna project following trading hold. Some shenanigans going on because they have announced to market they've been progressing with a confidential strategic partnering process to investigate the potential involvement of an international mining partner in the future redevelopment of Panguna project. And it came to their attention that on the 20th of November 2025, the autonomous Bougainville government signed a non-binding memorandum of understanding with Lloyds Metal and Energy Limited, LMEL. MELMEL. The memorandum of understanding serves to establish a formal framework for collaboration on major development projects across Bougainville, including the Panguna project. Now, LMEL entered into an NDA with Bougainville Copper on the 11th of April of this year, but ceased contacts with the company and its advisors shortly thereafter, and was not participating in the partnering process. So something is going on here. Not exactly sure what to think of this, except it does look bad, and that's why the share price is down 50%. So, um, hmm. Anyway, let's have a little chart for Bougainville. Is this an overreaction from the market? Uh, Maybe. Who knows? Oh, geez. Share price has taken a bit of a turn for the worst. Before today, well, I wouldn't say the chart was looking amazing, but it looked like the drop in share price had more than halved from its highs. Maybe things have started to turn around for Bougainville Copper. And I think definitely today has put a bit of a lid on any sort of, well, maybe not a lid, it's destroyed the positive sentiment in the company. A really bad looking one-day candlestick as well. A massive volume coming through. So, unfortunately for those shareholders, you've not had a good day. And the other one was Tally Resources, I think. TR2, Tally something. Yeah, Tally Resources. Share price down 45.9% on initial drilling results. You don't want to see share price down almost 50% on drilling results. That means the results weren't very good. And the very fact they just put initial drilling results. Now, if it was really, really good, magnificent. They would have really put some, I wouldn't say flowery commentary in it, but they would have said sensational drilling results or magnificent drilling results or one of a kind drilling results. I've noticed small mining companies will do that. They will really let the commentary into the title really tell us that it was really good results. And this was just a really bland title. Let's see what they're drilling for. I should not open this up. Nickel and copper. And yeah, um, what I'm looking or seeing here, it's not that good. In fact, they mention the words weekly in terms of the opposite of strongly. A weekly anonymous silver up to 0.35 grams per ton, not that good. And zinc, not sure how to read the zinc. So anyway, it doesn't really matter what I think of it. And I'm sort of cheating because the market or the share price is down a significant amount. So we already know these are not good drilling results. Anyway, so let's have a look at the chart for TR2. So this is obviously a recent listing because they got a number in the ticker code. And oh, so really recent listing, 18th of July 2025. Share price or the chart didn't look all that bad, but today's really put a bit of a dent into again the positive sentiment in this company. In fact, let's have a look if they did indeed list in July. Yep, they did. Okay, so that's Bougainville Copper and Tally Resources both having really bad days. There's another company here, FMR Resources down 17%. I was going to discuss that company, but Bougainville Copper and Tally Resources won the day. Other than that, nothing much here. If we have a look at the top losers by market cap, there should be a few companies in this that I will talk about later in the video, including Bendigo Bank down 6.64%, and Fleetwood down 9.89%. Did I include that in the top five? I did. And Aroa Biosurgery down 8.76%. So three companies in my top five. Bendigo, Fleetwood, and Aroa Biosurgery. I actually had another company called IPG or IPD Group in the top five. They had a good day, but when I saw Aroa Biosurgery down this amount, I had to knock IPD Group out and put Aroa Biosurgery in. And I think that's it. Oh, Sensen's down. Below 10 cents. The winner of last week's poll. Okay. Let's turn attention to the top five stocks of the day. And we'll start off with Fleetwood Mac. I'm sorry, I am always going to refer to this company as Fleetwood Mac. Always. Share price down 9.16% on departure of managing director and CEO. Now, sometimes this won't cause the share price to drop 10%, but I think it's because this is an immediate firing. I'm going to say this is a firing. I'm going to call it this is a firing because they've mentioned here that what do you call it? The board, the company has advised that Mr. Bruce Nicholson has departed from the role of managing director and CEO effective immediately, which only happens if something, I think, negative has gone or has been fired. There was another CEO leaving a role today, or maybe it was a CFO. CEO or CFO leaving, and I'm trying to remember which company it was. Um, I'm just doing it. I'm trying to find it. Where would it be? I'm in ComSec, and I'm just wondering where the announcement would be. No, that's not it. Yeah, I just saw a CFO leaving, and I don't think, and he's decided to do something else, but he's staying in that role for another 6 months. So there's an easy transition, and I doubt this company's share price has gone down that much. Even though CFO is a little bit different than the CEO and managing director, but usually if you do see someone leave immediately, effective immediately, that's not a good thing. Now, I'm not sure why. They don't really say that here. They just said they made the decision as part of its commitment to ensuring the company's long-term success and alignment with strategic priorities. Now, sure, maybe they could say that, but the very fact it's effective immediately, something's happened, and I wouldn't be surprised if this was a firing. Maybe he did something wrong. Maybe something he did didn't really fit with the forward direction the company is moving towards. And it's funny because Fleetwood hasn't been doing all that badly. If you have a look at the chart, the share price has pulled back a little bit recently, but yeah, the share price was in a beautiful uptrend for a while. And yeah, just based on the chart, it looked like maybe the company's doing well. But well, with this particular news, share price has dipped and it's at a very important level. We can put a line right there and you can see the share price today has bounced off the lows the company saw back in July. Wouldn't be surprised, particularly with the volume, that the share price might continue to drop after today. Okay, so that's Fleetwood. Not going to say it. Coming in at number four, Aroa Biosurgery, share price down. I was trading this until a few days ago because definitely you can see the sentiment shifting. Share price down 8.42% on results. I saw these results and I went, oh, have I made the right or bad or the worst decision? Because if these results were really good, but I was thinking to myself, hey, the market was thinking these results may not be good or better than expected or whatever. And that's why the share price had pulled lower. But I was thinking the market can be wrong. I don't think if you have a look at the financial, these are half year results. If you have a look at the outlook, they're just reaffirming what they've already mentioned. So sometimes when that happens, the share price still pop up. Uh, they're not profitable. That's the other thing. They're not quite profitable, and the growth is okay, but they are normalized EBITDA profitable, but not yet profitable overall. But I think this company is definitely getting there. They are cash flow positive. I'm pretty sure operating and free cash flow positive. And probably the other thing I should mention is they have been releasing Appendix 4Cs until now. They've been told by the ASX, you don't have to release Appendix 4Cs anymore. They've mentioned it somewhere in this announcement, somewhere. Here it is. Yeah, Aroa Biosurgery, please report that the ASX has advised the company that is no longer required to lodge quarterly 4C reports. And that is sad. And I think companies should say, even though we're not required, we'll still do it. I do like those quarterly updates. Anyway, so obviously there was something negative in this, even though they've reaffirmed guidance, the market just doesn't like it. And there's also the possibility that the market just doesn't, there's just enough negative sentiment just because of the chart that the share price has dropped because there was no positive surprises here. I think if there was a positive surprise, the share price would have popped up. So let's have a look to see why I was trading this and then why I've got out. So share price had moved into a nice uptrend back in June, July, and it was a beautiful uptrend. And then all of a sudden we had a big down day on the 18th of November. For me, that is get out. That is a get out sign. I don't know why there was a big down day. Really, things just really changed. Share price got as high as 80 cents. Looked like maybe there was a bounce after it. We have seen a little bit of buying coming in today. Share price got as low as 56 cents. I think that was on someone just dumping their shares on the market. And the reason I say it is if you have a look at that minute chart, if you have a look at the minute chart, there was a big dump at 10:30 a.m. So this was an hour and a half after trading had begun. So this wasn't an open. You can see a massive, in that 1 minute, there was a massive spike, and there was a spike 2 minutes later. So I think that was possibly a little bit of capitulation. Someone just sold en masse. So if you go to what time was that? Yeah, if you go to 11:30, if you have a look at course of sales, 11:30, I wouldn't be surprised if there was just one big dump. And here it is. Yeah, 11:30. That was a big dump. Share price was 62.5 cents. And yeah, share price got to 56. And then we did see a bit of buying coming in right after that. Okay, so lucky for those who were paying attention. Anyway, so that's Aroa Biosurgery coming in. It's number four. The share price down 8% on results. Okay, on to Bendigo Bank. And probably the reason for a bit of weakness in financials today. Share price down 7.23% because they can't deal with money laundering or something like that. Deficiencies in approach to ML and TF. I'll be honest with you, when I saw that announcement, I was like, what the hell is ML and TF? Well, money laundering and TF is I can't even tell you right now. There you go. Just shows you how much attention I paid to this particular announcement. Definitely money laundering. What's TF? I'm going to kick myself. Oh, terrorism financing. Oh, really? Okay, so obviously, and what obviously, there's some branch in Bendigo Branch, they don't mention where, suspicious stuff had been happening at this branch. In fact, they said they engaged in Deloitte to conduct an independent investigation of suspicious activity indicative of money laundering at one of its branches. And then they realize it's the whole bank. Now, this suspicious activity was over a 6 year period. 6 year period. Now, in the review, Deloitte concluded that deficiencies existed throughout the relevant period regarding the bank's approach to identification, mitigation, and management of money laundering and terrorism financing. And these deficiencies extend beyond just a branch and identified weaknesses and deficiencies across many aspects of money laundering and terrorism financing, risk management, blah, 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 including in relation to the bank's approach to risk assessment and enhanced customer due diligence. There you go. So the board said they're very disappointed. I've been told once or twice, never use the word very. There's always a word, like very disappointed could be, I don't know. What's another word for just one word for very disappointed? Upset. I don't know. With the findings and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's why Bendigo Bank's down because they couldn't deal with money laundering and terrorism financing. Now, I'll be honest with you, the chart for Bendigo Bank did not look good before this. So this was, and had not been looking good since they released results, I think. Yeah, so they released results back in the 11th of November. Share price on that day dived 8.5%. And woo, share price has really taken a bit of a tumble, massive tumble, getting towards the lows the company saw back in April, not that long ago. Only about $1 away. If you have a look at the weekly chart, yeah, a few pretty bad weeks for Bendigo. Is it really Bendigo and Adelaide Bank? I've just been calling it Bendigo Bank. So is it real? Yeah, Bendigo and Adelaide Bank. I had no idea. There you go. It just shows you how much attention I paid to this company. And there was a training update where we saw the share price drop on the 11th. So a couple of really bad weeks for this company, and the chart looks horrendous. And even if there might be value in the company now, I wouldn't care. Chart is horrendous. And look at the volume. The last time I had volume this big was back when they released results in February. Share price on that day down 15.3%. Coming in at number two, we have definitely a possible trade. This one, Enlitic. Share price 3.3%. not percent, 3.3 cents. So if the share price drops much further from here, that would be a negative 1 day candlestick. In fact, the share price is near the low of the day. Anyway, so we have seen a little bit of selling coming in. So Enlitic, even with the selling, share price is still up 43.5%. Enlitic announces global partnership with Philips. I was like, Philips, the electronic store or electronic, whatever it's called. Now, this is called Royal Philips. So listed on the New York Stock Exchange as PHG. Not sure if it's the same thing. I have no idea. I should have checked this before I started recording. PHG. Conic like Philips NV. What the heck? A technology company which engages in the healthcare lighting, and consumer well-being markets. Yeah. I'm not going to say anything else about that. Okay. Anyway, so providing AI-enabled DICOM data migration and workflow solutions for Philips enterprise imaging customers. Effective immediately, Enlitic is authorized by Philips as one of two approved migration vendors. Okay, with then they talk about some sort of market TAM or whatever. Now, no, not much. What's a good word? There's not much financial numbers in this. So typically, I do prefer financial numbers, but maybe they have no idea. It could be highly beneficial to the company. This maybe it validates their technology, what they're doing. So what this company, where is it? PHG has a market cap of $25.71 billion. So first thing I do is have a look at the most recent Appendix 4C, which they released about 1 month ago. How much cash flow does this have, if they have any? $2.7 million in receipts. And it does look like the cash flows or the receipts are starting to grow because 4.2 of the first 9 months, 2.7 in this quarter. So about $1.4 million of receipts in the first 2 quarters. So possible acceleration in receipts and operating cash flow negative 836,000 for the quarter, but 8.1 million for the year to date. So this does look in terms of growth over the last or the rest of the year. This actually does look like a pretty good quarter. Now the question I would have is, can they maintain this? Moving forward, this momentum moving forward. I've never looked at this company in the past. I don't remember anyway, might have. And I'm just going to see if they've mentioned revenue. Sometimes you can see a big difference between revenue and cash receipts. They also mentioned continue to expect operational cash flow break even towards the end of the fourth quarter. So we're in the fourth quarter. So they're getting to that inflection point. So that's interesting. Anyway, so, here's operating cash flow. Yeah, really improvement there. Expenditure is actually going down. So they're improving the cash receipts as expenditure goes down. So maybe they're finding a bit of scale here. Okay, so I'm liking what I see going through this Penny's 4C really quickly. Okay, so let's have a look at the chart. Share price has popped up, but the chart's going to speak a fair bit. Why have we seen a selling? This is a chest depository? Is this company listed overseas? Let's have a look. I'm going to go back to one of the announcements. Bounce Enlitic is a software company that uses artificial intelligence to develop software products that manage medical imaging data in radiology. Analytics CDIs are traded on the ASX in reliance on the safe harbor provisions of Regulation S under the US Securities Act of 1933. Okay. That's interesting in itself. But the chart sort of does look interesting. So the share prices did drop a lot. So this company listed looks like back in late 2023, share price as high as $1, and then it just went and fairly quickly did the share price of this company just go. In fact, it fell from $1 to 5 cents, almost 5 cents. So that's a loss of 95% in 9 months, 95% in 9 months. That can happen to these type of companies. They might have released something negative during that period. It does look like there's low volume, low liquidity, which is another problem. If a company's not really doing anything, no one's buying, and those who want to sell just have to sell on market, and the share price will take a massive tumble. We have seen liquidity improve since probably the middle of 2024. Share price, in the meantime, share price has found a little bit of, well, hasn't really found a consolidation. It has been slowly going down. And if we just zoom in a little bit more, share price is still in a downtrend. And even though we have seen a lot of volume coming through today, massive volume, we have seen that the resistance level at 4.5 cents holding firm. And we can see why 4.5 cents is a nice little resistance, because the share price got up to this level back in July, then fell away, and then got back up to 4.5 cents in August, then fell away. Share price and fell away fairly significantly. In fact, the share price halved, more than halved. So we can definitely see why the share price is finding it or struggling to get above 4.5, because there would be a few shareholders who bought when the share price looked like it was rallying, who just want to get out of this dog stock, and they found the opportunity today. So I really would like to see 4.5 get beaten, but selling has been there's just been too much enthusiasm in the sellers today for the share price to really take off. So that's Enlitic. I have liked a few things I've seen, but I was thinking this is more of a possible trade. I'm not there yet with this chart. And finally, coming in at number one, we have WebBeds. Well, I call this company WebBeds from now on. It's called Web Travel Group. So we have Webjet. They divided into Web Travel Group and Web something or other. Oh, what was the other one? Web Travel Group and Web. I have no idea what the other one's called. The other one's, I think, it's being bought out by Hello World. So they separated, and the only thing the only part of this business I was interested was the web beds, and this is web travel. 7.63% on half year results. I'm a little bit surprised by this because it seemed like the numbers were to expectations. It seemed like everything was to expectations. Nice growth, really nice growth. So talking about bookings up 18%, revenue up 20%, EBITDA up 21%. Then some margins up a little, EBITDA margins up a little bit. But these were to expectations, if I remember correct. And if I remember also correctly, they haven't really changed their expectations for the full year. I could be wrong with that. But I did see a tweet, and unfortunately, I can't bring up my tweet. I don't know why, but there was a tweet. In fact, I might bring up my Twitter. Yeah, it goes to for some reason, it keeps going to my personal account, which I very rarely use. Rudy. So I want Rudy Philip. Is it, what's his name? Rudy. Oh, no, that's not. That would be, what's his name? Rudy something ASX. Rudy Filapek. Filapek. And this is the benefit of just going through, I find just going through Twitter quickly on a morning, and particularly Rudy has a lot of tweets, particularly from analysis. And he did this morning with, here we go, I missed this one with Ramsay Healthcare. And here it is. So this is the one I was thinking of. So RBC Capital on Web Travel Good, overall a good result from Web, ahead of consensus in line with RBCE. So the TTV margin of 6.5% was better than expected, which was between 6.2 and 6.4%. And we note financial year 26 guidance of 6.5% suggests flat half to half margins versus prior guidance, which implied a second half skew. Yeah, so before the market had opened, there was a positive vibe when it came to Web Travel Group, and no surprise, the share price is up. Anyway, so I'm just thankful I saw that tweet, because I was wondering why the share price, well, the indicated price was showing the share price was going to be up. I thought it was to expectations. Shows you how much I know. Let's have a look at the chart for this one. And I do think this company, I'm not sure if there's value in this company, but I do like the potential growth of this. And there's been nothing happening for ages. Share price probably going sideways. And today hasn't really been a breakout. Yeah, it's just not a breakout, not the sort of breakout I'm looking for. I would prefer like at least a 3-month, preferably 6-month high. We're just not getting that at the moment for Web Travel Group, but things are moving in the right direction for this company. Okay, so that's the top 5 of the day. A few other announcements I did not, I'll just briefly touch upon these. So we had IPD Group, share price up 7.31% on AGM and half year guidance. This was slightly better than expected. This was an upgrade. If I remember correctly, this was an upgrade. So that's why the share price is up for this one. So there was some sort of, where was it? Here we go. So this is the trading update and outlook. So this was better than expected, or an upgrade from the previous guidance. And I'm going to have a look, even though I don't have to, because I want to do this fairly quickly. Not sure if their previous guidance was in their results. Yeah, all I know was this was better than expected. Anyway, well, this was an upgrade, and the chart for share price had found a little bit of pressure recently. Yeah, the share price popped up when they did release results in August, and for some reason the market didn't care. And I'm just wondering, yeah, the chart. There's nothing to really like about this chart. The volume today has been really good, but we saw that really good volume coming through in August, and then the share price just fell away. That interest in IPD group didn't last very long. And this was a much in August when the share price popped up, that looked like a breakout. Today doesn't really. What else? Um, SRG Global had a nice contract wins. There we go. $650 million share price up. This is a much better looking chart. And I'm wondering if this was or could have been a nice little pullback buy. Yeah, share price pullback the 25-day moving average and is starting to go higher again. So a beautiful looking chart for SRG. And that could be it. There's a few other companies that were very close. IGE or IGL or IVE Group, IGL. This share price of this one's down 6.2% on AGM. Let's have a look at the chart for this one because this chart did look good for a while, but I think it's turned negative recently. Well, maybe not negative, but the uptrend has definitely come to an end for that company. Okay, that's all I have for today's video. If you have any questions, any thoughts, leave those in the comment section of the video. Otherwise, I'm not a financial advisor. If you need financial advice, make sure you seek out someone who is qualified and can speak to your own financial needs. That's it for this video. Have a good day. Bye.